And we're live! Hello, puppies, and welcome back to another episode of the Isle of Series. I have this guy with me again tonight, and tonight is Isle of Carpentry, where we're going to talk about some woodworking. We're also going to talk about the location in which this carpentry takes place. So we're going to have a little bit of two topics bouncing back and forth. And joining us tonight to talk about said topics is Bake the Snake. Wrong way.
Hey gang,
Hi.
how's it going? Thanks for having me tonight.
Not too bad.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Good.
Glad to be here. I'm staying up past my bedtime for you guys.
Which we appreciate. Thank you.
No, I always do on Saturday. But during the week, as you said, woodworking, I usually have to get up pretty early for work. So, weekdays I've been trying to go to bed by 10 o'clock, which that's where it is over here on the East Coast.
Yeah. That's my bedtime too. See,
that's
when
our bedtime
old,
too
yeah,
when we get there.
Earlier. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which I used to have major insomnia and stay up all the time, or even just comic addiction when I got first into this place, YouTube community the last year. I would stay up. I didn't want to miss any conversation. I wanted to hang out with everybody, so I would stay up till like 1 or 2 in the morning, and then I'm like, nah, I can't keep doing that.
Right. No. Yeah, no, like even I go to bed early, like just can't do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that I said the show was Isle of Carpentry, which should be a dead giveaway. But Tommy, please give us a little bit of an explanation as to what you do for work for the audience, please.
Well, I'm a third generation cabinet maker, carpenter. Down here in the Florida Keys, I make and sell custom cabinets and install, along with signs and anything else that I can. I try to branch out. I'm sure that'll be in questions later, but I try to branch out and do more artistic things. No pun intended, thinking outside of the box, because all cabinets are just boxes, and it just gets tiresome from time to time just looking at square objects and trying to find the best way to make them look
unique. Yeah. Third generation. So is this a family business? Is this how you got into woodworking and making custom cabinets?
Yeah, my family originated in New Jersey, and they used to travel down here and vacation, I guess, in the 50s. So my grandfather moved down here, my dad moved down here, and they were working together for a long time. Actually, my dad was thrust into it. I think about a year they were in a car accident. My grandfather was killed. So my dad had to learn the ropes really fast, and he had some help from some local guys around town, and they helped him out. And so after that, I started helping out when I was a kid. Being an only child, I'd either have to go to work or stay at my grandmother. So it was either going to the restaurant with my mom and busting tables, or going to the shop and banging nails. So I decided to go to the shop. And, as I got older, I was expected to do more work and learn more things. And after halfway through college, I decided to come back down here at home and help with the business and eventually take over.
Well, that's really cool. So, I mean, it was just kind of something easy that you already knew, and I mean, as an artistic standpoint, it's kind of be fun making some of these cabinets, like putting like little designs and stuff like that.
Yeah, and especially, I'm sure you've seen some videos. We have a CNC machine now, so that makes it really fun and allows me to express my artistic side and try to make new things, or even it just my interest again, just to kind of, I don't know, because most time when you go to work, the last thing you want to do is come home and research more work. That's where I get into the comics and hanging out with people, and I just want to decompress from work. So to get on the computer and try to learn more stuff, it's just really not that easy for me. So having the CNC machine and thinking outside the box, like I said, doing more artistic things, it gets me trying to watch more videos and learn more techniques and try new things.
Which is really cool. So would you say the artistic side of it is the most fun that you have with working, or what is your favorite thing while making, or what is the most fun that you've had on a project?
I'd say like the most fun can be any project for me. Like for me is like when I get in, I guess, the zone. Like you already know what you have to do. You're doing it, and you're kind of just in any job or sport or whatever. Your muscle memory or your body's just doing it. You know what I mean? Like it allows your mind to wander, clear your thoughts. It's almost therapeutic in a way. You know, especially like sometimes finished work can be that way because you have to be so detailed into sanding or sculpting or painting, which I'm still trying to get good at painting, but you know, I really just don't like to clean up in the mess. But yeah,
So
I really like the therapy. It's therapeutic for me, and sometimes it's very stressful too. I mean, you get some feisty customers, or one job we had a guy that would show up every single day. He had plenty of money and plenty of time. He owns multiple IHOPs out in the Texas. So he would
wow.
show up before the contractor, sit in his truck all day, smoke cigars, and then for some reason he would come inside and sit at the bar while we were trying to build the bar and the kitchen, and that sort of thing. It leads to nitpicking.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of tricks of the trade that you can hide stuff from the naked eye, but if you're sitting there watching every single thing, your eye's going to go to that problem every so I don't want to say problem, it's just a little, you know, for instance, like if there's a scratch, you might use some stain to cover that scratch so your eye doesn't go to it, or a putty stick to fill a hole. Where this guy sat there and saw something one day and he was just this, and it was just took forever to please him, and that was a very stressful day or month.
That was actually one of my questions: is what has been the most stressful project you've worked on for a client or in general?
Stressful is more like the clients, the type of clients. And I always get reminded of a story my dad tells me about my grandfather, is that these little ladies were always over his shoulder nitpicking the whole time. And then finally he started packing up his tools, and they're like, what's going on? He's like, I'm done. I'm done for the day. They're like, oh, no, we'll get out of your way. He's like, nope, I'm done. I'll come back tomorrow. You ladies can sit in the other room. And when I'm done, if you don't like everything that I've done, I'll tear it out and do it the way you want it. But to stand over my shoulder and question everything I do and nitpick everything that I'm doing when you aren't a professional in this profession, like it's almost in a way like, where do you come off? You know,
HGTV. That's where they come off, Tommy. HGTV.
Yeah, I told you we did a show one time for HGTV. That was, and we were very, very small on the show. Very, very small compared to like the guy that my dad sold our original shop to, the building. He was the contractor running the show. Everything on those shows are donated. That's why everything is so cheap. They don't tell you. So it gives customers false sense of hope, thinking that they're going to get these things for this amount of money, or they don't zoom in enough to show you how crappy the product is. And they promise you pipe dreams, you know. Like I said, the guy just bought my dad's shop. He ended up becoming friends. And so we had no problem building these little things for Hotel Impossible. And so no big deal. But also we thought it was going to be cool. Oh yeah, they promise you're going to get exposure. People are going to see you. And we get a lot of that down here in the Keys. You know, people filming movies or TV shows. Not so much anymore because Florida said we're over it and we're not going to give any more tax cuts and I'm with that. Why are we going to give tax cuts to billionaires who shoot movies and TV shows? They're the ones with all the money. They should pay us to come shoot here. But that's just me.
Geez. Yeah. It was just very stressful.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's a TV show called Bloodlines. It was very popular on Netflix. They were coming around. I hung out with a lot of the crew, and they would come around asking people to use their locations. My buddy has a garage, and they asked him to use location, and he said, well, you're going to get plenty of exposure on this TV show. And he's like, is it a documentary? Like, no. okay, so then people are going to think that your fake show is a real garage. It doesn't make sense. You know, they try to promise you these things and get stuff for free all the time.
Yeah, which is really crummy because you know they make the promises to you guys and then nothing actually pans out from it. But would you say that some of your biggest projects have been from these TV shows, or has it been just projects you've done that has been what's your biggest project?
Our biggest projects were come from the contractors that are kind of like, I'd say, our bread and butter, the ones that we've worked with for over 40 years. And the biggest ones we've done, we just finished up one of the heirs to the Ford dynasty, Ford Motors. We just finished up his house down here. For that, we did the customer has the largest clamming industry in the world, I believe. He supplies Campbell and Presto soup. His nephew is Martin Truex Jr. He's a NASCAR driver. He actually, I believe, won the championship 2 years ago and has been in the running for the championship the last 4 years, I believe. Real nice guy. We've done stuff for Kathy Lee Gifford and Frank Gifford, you know, back in the day before, you know, he passed away. Roland Martin, who's a fishing guide. One of them, I forget his name. I just call him Daryl, but he was a sprint car drag racer. There's a lot of people that come down here that want to get away. Oh, Jimmy Johnson, the football coach.
Wow.
Yeah, he ended up actually living across the street from my dad's original shop, and he comes jogging by our shop every morning.
Wow. Is that kind of like surreal just to see him just go jog by?
We're very used to it by now. I mean, Gene Hackman got hit by a car down here because he comes down here and lives for so many months, and he rides his bike. Yeah, Lex Luthor. Good, bad, and the ugly.
He got hit by a car?
Yeah. It was a big deal.
I shouldn't laugh. It's awful, but what?
Yeah, he was all right. He ended up being all right. I mean, there's all sorts of people that you don't think about it because the Keys are so laid back and really no one cares. I mean, another one, what's it, John Landau, the James Cameron's right-hand man that they produce Avatar and won all the Oscars and stuff. He's down here.
I was gonna say Keys is kind of a tourist spot though. I mean, because you have especially Key West, right at the very tip. I mean, you guys have tons of shops and stuff that's down there, and
Key West,
and you got the big cruise liners and all that kind of stuff.
That's where you learned how to dive. That's where you got certified.
Yeah. Yep. So I have been down to the Keys once, and I to get certified to scuba dive. And we went down to Key West, and I mean, the whole area is kind of like a big tourist trap.
Yeah, Key West is more of a city compared to where I'm at in Key Largo. I'm in Key Largo. My cabinet shop's in Islamorada, and Key West is more like a city. There's alleys and blocks, and I don't know.
The giant
like a smaller version of New Orleans, I guess, where New Orleans is like 6 streets or so, and Key West is just one. But it's the same thing. You walk down it, and there's bars and stuff all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
So, Tommy, how do you prepare for a hurricane when it's coming?
Yeah.
I mean, especially like with your shop and all your tools and everything, like you have anywhere to go.
The shop is down here after Hurricane Andrew. There's pretty much code unless you're grandfathered in, and after every big storm, those grandfathered in houses seem to disappear more and more. But most houses are concrete, and I'm in a concrete house. I'm 11 feet above sea level, so and a brand new roof. So we just put the shutters up. If it's a category 4 looking like it's going to go more, then we'll take off. If it's just looking like a 3 to a 4, usually we'll stay. Just because it's such a pain in the butt to get back into the Keys. They don't want anyone else to get back in. Even they usually issue these little stickers for Monroe County residents so that you can like wave your pass and they let you in. If not, they turn you around. After the last hurricane, I was orchestrating with people on boats, and I'm in Orlando, and I'm orchestrating rides for like a camera crew from the New York Times with my buddy who owns a beer company, and trying to get them to go down there and videotape. And I'm like, look, man, I'm not even in there. I'm in the line for the teacups right now at Disney World. So I mean, I'm just trying to relay messages off of Facebook and on the phone, you know.
Wow.
Hobby wants to know if you've ever thought about building custom cabinets for comics.
Ooh.
I thought about it, man, but really there's another guy out there on Instagram I've seen do it. So, I mean, I guess I could compete, but right now, I don't know. I don't want to step on anyone's toes. If I do, I want to come up with something super original and not just copy somebody else's idea.
You mean like awesome Venom carvings?
Yeah, like that.
You could just do like a cabinet frame and just put different superheroes all around the outside.
That'd be so cool.
There you go. Yeah, I'm trying to think of something. I call them the widget. Like, I just want to come up with that one theoretical invention or device that I could just make on my CNC machine and sell on the internet and become rich. But it hasn't hit me yet.
Right? Well, okay, so here's something for you that maybe you can figure out a way to turn this into an invention if this is a problem. Living in a very, very humid place like the Keys, are there certain wood species that are harder to work with than others? Like, does the humidity like destroy certain woods faster? Does it make it harder to carve? Like, is there a difference with the humidity when you carve?
There can be. As you get into solid stock wood, which is compared to sheets of plywood, which is a bunch of sheets laid on top of each other to create a big plank of wood, compared to a tree that's actually cut down into the species of wood you're talking about. It can end up twisting and warping. That's why you build doors a certain way or out of certain materials. Where we stay away from is particle board, which right now, what I was talking about before, the cubby holes and the shoes and stuff I'm building for the job that had the mold is out of particle board, and I don't like it, but we have to do what the customer requests sometimes, and the particle board saved the customer $600 in material. So I get it, but being down here in the Keys, there's certain things in South Florida in general, for how humid it is, we recommend certain styles and that not to do or not to use, or to get a dehumidifier, or don't open your doors. A lot of people think you're in paradise, so just open your doors. Well, wood is porous; it absorbs, and it can end up expanding. So that's like one door. I don't know if I can picture it, but was it an inset door where it actually sits inside the frame instead of on the face frame itself? That's bad news down here. If you have drawers or something, it expands, and you'll never get the drawer out.
Yep.
We actually have to go to a shop, to a house later next week and fix their drawers because of that.
Jeez. Well, and okay, never mind. Kate's gonna do his fire facts, so I'm just gonna lean back here.
All right, so
you can lean forward.
my fire facts. Just
Yeah.
doing the fire facts right here. All right, number 1, Tommy has lived in Florida his entire life. Number 2, Tommy makes cabinets, and fun fact, my mom actually sells cabinets, so that's pretty cool. And number 3 types of habitats are found in the Florida Keys: swampland, coastal rock, and rockland. So yeah,
it's just so weird.
So, because a lot of the things that you're saying make so much sense to me. Do you guys have a problem with paint? Because painted cabinets here in Colorado are just a disaster.
Oh yeah, paint. Another thing I talked about with a customer today is painting. I mean, it's it's a tedious process anyway, and people always want to save money. But if you're going to paint your cabinets, you can, depending on what they are. You know, if it's wood or you have to sand it. It's a long, drawn out process. Sanding, primering, sanding, putting a coat on, sanding, putting another coat on. You know, this is all tedious. So you have to go inside these doors and stuff. And for one job we did, the guy's like, man, check out this paint job. I got it. I took the $3,000 paint job instead of the $6,000 paint job. Well, they were all bulky and the paint was scratching off, and he didn't see it because we were having to adjust all the doors and be right up on it and look. But he's like, yeah, not too bad, huh? And it's like, we got in the truck and like, man, he's going to hate himself in about a week or two.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
That's just the worst. That's why when we remodeled, we did cherry cabinets.
We did cherry because they're
cherry.
a nice color. Yes.
Yeah, it's a great wood. Yeah, I love the way it looks.
Yeah, me too.
Especially since a lot of people are kind of in the phase where it's like bright blue or gray, or you see the red. I'm like, how?
We get a lot of the
Which way?
pastel. Actually, now everyone seems to be going white, and I know what people want. It looks nice, but it's your kitchen. Like, you have food and sauces, and you make a mess in white stains and shows dirt. Like, and you're gonna have to clean them. And the more you scrub your cabinets, the more you're gonna rub the finish off of them. And it's just a lot of the cleaning products are abrasive, and it ends up, you know, you'll end up putting swirl marks in your cabinets. But I want to go back, like,
you're talking my language.
Yeah.
I know. Mom's over here just see like,
I'm a big advocate.
Check.
You get what you pay for. There's certain things in life that you need to pay the extra money for to get a good quality product. Don't get me wrong. I still buy shirts from like Walmart or Kmart, but I'm not expecting them to last more than a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's an $8 shirt for a reason, because when it rips and tears in a month, you got another $8 to go buy another shirt. But if you go buy that $80 Lacoste or Polo shirt, that thing's going to last you for a few years if you wash it and maintain it, you know, to what the specs say on the clothes, you know. Yo, NYC, what's up? All right. Out in Chicago. But yeah, don't get me wrong. I save money where I can. Like my work shoes, I go to Payless or Kmart. I buy $20 work shoes, and I don't care, you know. But there are certain things. If you're going to be buying a I don't know, it really depends. Like a $5,000 to $10,000 piece of stone to put on your cabinets. Don't go buy particle board cabinets that are going to rot out in 3 years. You want to buy a good quality.
Because then that stone's gonna go.
Oh, yeah, and a lot of times they make you sign a waiver because you have to bring in the stone guys to come take the countertop off to go do the cabinets. And a lot of times they'll make you sign a waiver that if it cracks, they're not liable for it. And when you sign that waiver, they're not going to take their time trying to take it off because they're not liable for it. But guess what? You're going to have to go back to them and buy another slab of stone to fix it. So they make more money. I'm not saying they intentionally break stuff. I'm just saying they need to move on to the next job, and they're not going to take their time on it.
Nope.
Yeah. Wait, so which is really a good piece of advice for anybody who's looking to remodel a kitchen. You need to have good hardware in cabinets, or it's just going to completely fall apart, especially if it's humid and, like you said, how the wood expands, or you know, or even sometimes it could start to rot, especially if it's older and if it's very moist and it just starts to crumble, you know.
Moist.
Oh yeah, we have to deal with a lot of that mold and stuff with the hurricanes and flooding, especially after Irma. What was it, 2 years, almost 3 years ago now?
Jeez.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say. So, because of the hurricane, do you have a backlog? Like, are you always booked out?
No, you'd be surprised. We go out for a lot of estimates, and sometimes we get very few callbacks, and it's not for the work, but we're just in that frame of mind where people want something cheaper. They go to IKEA, Home Depot, or I mean, I know some contractor buddies just to make more money on their end. They buy this Chinese stuff out of Miami, and it's like, because if you hire somebody local, in theory, someone from out of town should not be able to compete with your prices. They have to drive,
Right.
pay for gas, go down there. Unless they're completely working illegally, there's no way someone from out of town should be able to compete with your prices. But somehow people keep coming down to the Keys from West Palm, Miami, and they do these jobs. I have to go do an install for a guy that got some stuff out of Orlando. Don't ask me why when you have local people in town. But that's another thing. You hire a local, it's a peace of mind. If something goes wrong, they're there in town. You know where to find them. You're not trying to hunt around in the city where there's 40 other competitors or more, you know?
I mean, I guess the only good thing about that is when people seek you out like that, it means you're good. People want your product.
Yeah.
So, talking about the Keys, Lasso wants to know if you've ever come face to face with an alligator or a crocodile
Or a snake.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of those. We used to swim in a canal all the time, and my buddy has a canal, so I'd ride the bike through the neighborhood to him and go swim in the canal, no big deal. And then one day, I don't know, my dad's contractor buddy lived down the same canal, was coming through in his boat, and he says, "Hey, what are y'all swimming in here? Haven't you seen that alligator?" I'm like, "No, what are you talking about? We've been swimming here for years. Never even saw one." The next day we go over there. The alligator's off across on the beach, a little boat ramp type beach across the canal, sunning out. Haven't seen him in years, but here comes this guy in a boat and says something. We thought he was just trying to tease us kids at the time. And literally, because it was during summer, we would go there and go swimming. And literally the next day, there it was, just sunbathing. We're like, nope, no thank you.
Dude.
Oh, man.
No. Okay, so with reptiles,
Bear.
where did the name Bake the Snake came from?
Yes.
Please tell me you weren't baking snakes. Please tell me that's not the reason.
Or was the snake baking you?
No, my name is Tommy Baker. So Bake is, a lot of people will call me, or Baker, because there's actually grew up with 6 different Tommies down here. So everyone would just call you by your last name. But then also the wrestler is Jake the Snake. So I tried to do a little play on that, because a buddy of mine would always call me wrestling names. He would call me the Heartbake Kid, which is Shawn Michaels for wrestling fans, the Heartbreak Kid. And then he started calling me Bake the Snake. So it just kind of stuck. And I always say I'm a baker in more ways than one. I like to cook. It's my name.
Hence the chef hat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Chef hat. Yep.
Right here.
That is awesome. You wore that on Commodores.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of runs in a family. I like baking, baked goods, and my mom, there's a restaurant down here. She makes all the muffins for this restaurant that's called Harriet's Restaurant down here in the Keys. It's
That's cool.
old. It'll turn 38. My mom was the first waitress working there, and I used to grow up in the back, sleep on cardboard while she was working, and then get up, bust some tables. I'm talking little. My grandmother would work there too, so I would catch the bus there, have my dad take me there in the morning, eat breakfast, and then catch the bus to school.
Wow. That's kind of fun, though. I mean, I know it's your parents' place of work, but it's kind of fun getting to zip in and out of there.
Yeah, well, the owner, she was like my aunt. She didn't have kids of her own, and she just kind of embraced all the kids there. I just happened to be the first kid that was, workers, and they were really good friends, and I was just always there, and I learned a lot of stuff from her, and work ethic and busting tables. It's a tourist community, so you can make a lot of money in the service industry down here. You just have to be able to save it, because being a tourist industry, people always want to party and go out drinking and having a good time.
And then it all disappears.
Exactly.
So what would you say is your busy tourist time? Like what months are the busiest for you?
For us, for my profession, when it gets closer to like Thanksgiving and Christmas, everyone wants their stuff in to show off for their family members. Everyone wants it and they want it now. And the funniest thing is they call you at like the end of November. Oh, it'll be in by Christmas, right? You're funny. Like, no. Not only are you thinking at the last minute, so is the rest of America, and you want to order these cabinets. There's already a backup in the line of people, let alone like what we have personally, that the jobs that we're finishing before the holidays. So we just kind of just tell them, here's our number. Call us the beginning of the new year.
Yep.
That's all we can do. I mean, because if not, I'm going to put you on a list and just forget about you because I'm going to be so busy. And then you're going to be mad at me. I'd rather you just call me back. And a lot of them do. Hey, you remember me? I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember you. But, people expect, I think their expectations of what the cost of things actually are out of this world because of those network shows we were talking about. Like, drawer slides, like good quality drawer slides, can be anywhere from $20 to $50 a pair. Everything depends on sizing and wood or material and your finish. And there's a lot of things that people don't think, about. Like I went to a buddy's house who I know he's a slumlord, but he wanted 2 custom cabinets. And I'm like, look, man, we're at $3,000 and we haven't even gotten into our labor to install it yet. And his response was like, "Oh man, I didn't expect that. I thought it was going to be like $500 completed." I'm like, you can barely get one cabinet for $500, let alone a whole job bought, installed, and finished for $500.
That's
amen.
That's not real life.
Yep.
Okay. So
half hour is over.
I know.
Already.
I'm like,
wow,
wait a minute.
really?
What is the half hour mark? I know.
It.
It has been so fun just watching Mom over here, just like, yep. Yep.
Literally,
everything you said, she's just been nodding the whole life. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the show. And thank you for talking with us. It's really fun, especially since we know a little bit about the industry, but kind of knowing like the other side of it, like how you guys build it and then you go and you make the installs yourself. It's really cool hearing that perspective of it, especially since you guys are an independent business and you guys have gotten to work with TV shows. Oh my gosh.
It sounds cooler than it is.
I know, like, come on. How are you not like in one of those multi-million-dollar homes by now? You got the connections everywhere.
He works for rich people. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think with that, we are going to wrap up. So thank you everybody for coming. I saw Rob, I saw Javi, I saw
Magic Lasso.
I know I saw
Javi,
Marquito,
Adam,
One Chew
Adam,
Comic
One
Talk.
Chew.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Alan,
much.
Sam, thank you all so much for coming. And Tommy, thank you so much for being our guest on the show. We had a lot of fun.
Thanks
Thank
for having
you.
me anytime.
Absolutely. And with
We will
that,
see you
we will see you all
later.